Thanks, Jody. TransLink is one step closer to rolling out its Compass Card system to the general public. Data from a trial run finds the system works well overall, but more education will be needed to get all riders up to speed, and that could come at a hefty price. Greg Harper is live in Vancouver this morning with all the details. Greg.
Kyle, here at the commercial Broadway station this morning, the Compass Card is one step closer to becoming a reality, meaning these Compass readers will be in full use. So will the vending machines as well. The test has just wrapped up. It was a test that took about a month. It involved 10,000 volunteers who used the card, and according to TransLink, all went well. Now the card will be launched later on this year, and it will come with a large education program. Reportedly, TransLink plans to spend $8 million to educate public transit users on how to use the new Compass system. Some of the findings from this test, according to TransLink: response time on some of the buses was slow. Readers only work when the bus is turned on. The Compass vending machines worked fine, and the fare gates performed well.
They tapped cards for 3 weeks approximately, and they gave us lots of good feedback. They actually sent us more than 3,500 lines of feedback through the web portal, and we also got feedback through Twitter and Facebook.
If they change the fares, if they're cheaper, I think that's going to be, I'd rather that than have a Compass card.
How it's going to benefit the common commuter, I don't really see the access being that great.
So yeah, again, this Compass Card one step closer to becoming a reality, and this has been a pretty pricey project. The budget, $171 million, but TransLink has confirmed it's going to end up costing more than that. Kyle?
Thanks for that. Greg Harper reporting live this morning in Vancouver. Vancouver homeowners are bracing for another increase in property taxes next year, and City Hall is telling you to also expect higher utilities and user fees. The city's 2014 budget outlook was just released and shows a shortfall of at least $13 million. That's even with the planned tax increases. The city expects many rising expenses next year, including paying more to unionized workers, higher water and sewer costs, a bike share program, and also a civic election. The rise in property taxes is currently pegged at 2%, but the final figure could be higher or lower depending on what cost-cutting measures staff can find.
They don't provide the detail that I think is required in order for us to make informed decisions. It's very difficult. We don't get a line-by-line budget. We don't get any detail per department, nothing. It's irresponsible for a councillor to vote for a budget if they haven't been provided the detail.
An emotional day for police and the family of a young murder victim with charges finally laid in the fatal shooting.
Taylor was a good kid. He was naive, and he made a bad decision that ultimately cost him his life.
21-year-old Taylor Johnson was killed in February while house sitting at a friend's place that housed a marijuana grow-op. 23-year-old Jesse Riverhill is facing 4 charges, including second-degree murder. Police think the grow-op was Hill's motivation for allegedly breaking in. They don't believe Hill and Johnson knew each other.
I don't think there's any value in hatred or carrying around bitterness, and that's going to destroy myself, my wife, or my family, or the people that have done this.
Taylor's father is a pastor at a Baptist church in Delta. The family moved to British Columbia from Arizona back in 2007. Well, the U.S. is entering day 4 of a federal government partial shutdown. President Barack Obama has canceled a trip to Asia to push for a settlement in the dispute over temporary funding. House Republicans are proposing the 800,000 furloughed government workers get back pay when this shutdown is over, but they are not backing down from trying to include changes in the health care law in an emergency spending bill. A 1-year-old girl is in protective custody after her mother was shot to death by police following a high-speed chase through the streets of Washington, D.C. The child was in the car when a woman identified as 34-year-old Miriam Carey of Connecticut tried to drive through barriers at the White House and Capitol Hill. Carey's mother says her daughter was not violent, but she had been suffering from postpartum depression. The Gulf Coast is bracing for the arrival of Tropical Storm Karen this weekend. Karen is poised to become the first named storm of the season to hit the United States, unloading heavy rain with a potential for storm surge along the northern coastline. A hurricane watch extends from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle, and a tropical storm warning is in effect for the Louisiana coast.